Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1551 Lakefront Road here in Lake Oswego. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the house. In this case, you don't face the front door, but we're just, if you're standing in the street facing the property in general. So we are on the right side of the home, on the bottommost level here, and on the, again, on the right side. Near the base of the staircase here, you've got a 4-inch cast iron cleanout right up against the side of the house. And it sticks out of the ground. You can't miss the thing. We're going to check the overall condition, serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. And we're going to zero out here right at the base of the cleanout. So right out of the gate here, we drop into the line into some standing water. We'll take a better look at that on the way out when the line's fully drained. I'm hoping we don't have too many more stair-step dives like this. These things are very tricky to get the cameras to navigate through all the way out. Most of these sewer lines end up going out to the lake. Now this first set of turns here is kind of a doozy. Oh, we got through it. I was just about to tell you, we're done here. And right here actually looks like we might have a clean out tying in right there. I think someone may have actually installed that because they had a hard time getting through that. I'm going to see if I can locate it really quick. Well, I tried locating this. It's just off to the side here. The tie-in there looks like it's a two-way connection, which is indicative of a clean out. Anytime you have it, I'll take a second. I didn't want to back up too far and have to go ram into that turn again. It's also possible it could be related to the storm system. This is an older home. It's not super uncommon that storm ties into these old things. Anyway, I tried poking around for it. I did not have much luck. It looks like it's buried pretty good. Anyway, generally when you have a drain tying in there, it's going to be a directional connection where it forces things to go with the flow of the line. That tie-in there looked like a two-way tie-in. Okay, now we're hitting a spot here where it looks like we're transitioning over to concrete. And I'm going to go locate where we are right now. All right, so I just went and located this spot here. This kind of has the appearance of, we're doing another really hard dive right here. This almost looks like a spot where might be diving down into a manhole or something of that nature. It's a tricky spot to load. Where we're standing, or we're sitting at currently, is the line travels down the right side of the property line to get to this point here. It does that in general once it turns away from the house, heading toward the lake. This is, and again, this is if you're oriented, standing on Lakefront Road facing the property. Right now we are just getting to where we're near the rear left corner, back left corner most of the decking down there, but off to the side of the property right now. And it's hard to tell if we're dropping into the neighbor's yard here. It's a very tricky spot to locate. It almost looks like you may have some roots or something hanging out here. But this right here may very well be where the line ties into the main lateral. I can see that the water's splashing down. Onto the concrete pipe there. That kind of looks like the main there. It's just a really weird view that we're getting. Now, this is one of those ones where I think it would be a good idea to contact the city and have them pull their records to see what they show as being where the line terminates at. You've got some debris hanging up here, or at least the concrete pipe here doesn't look like it's in super great condition. Might have some roots coming through right now. So I'm gonna turn the water off here. This is about as far as we're realistically going to be able to get. Anyway, but we might get a little nicer view of things here in just a second once the water's turned off. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is, sometimes these houses will go straight out to the lake, and sometimes they will tie into main laterals that run between the houses. Alrighty, so I turned most of the water off. I'm going to leave a little bit of water running just to help lube the line up a little bit. It's a hard configuration on the camera. It's a lot of hard turns in it. Anyway, on the report, I'm going to notate, I'm getting to 60 feet here, and it's going to say it's where I've stopped. It's just, we get such a awkward view of things here, it's really hard to tell. But it looks like where we're hitting there, that appears to be where the line could potentially terminate anyway. And you can see you got some gunk building up in here. By and large, I mean, there's no backup debris or anything like that. It looks like stuff's getting where it needs to. That concrete pipe there is just, it's in fairly rough condition. You've got some of that stuff jutting off the pipe wall there. It could just simply be debris. You could also have something going on behind that. Like a crack in the pipe wall. There could be roots behind it, things like that. You've also got kind of an odd discoloration there at the top of the concrete right as we enter into it. Right now it's kind of at the top left-hand corner of the screen. You may also have some, you know, that wouldn't surprise me. The age that this pipe is, especially the concrete pipe, in and around all those trees like it is, it would not be surprising one bit if you had some pipe there that was getting pretty worn out at this point. But based on the lack of debris evidence in there, we don't have stuff caked all over the line, top of the pipe and everything. Doesn't show any signs of causing blockages or backups, but that would be worth looking into. Unfortunately, because the configuration of the line, if the line does persist beyond that point, I would need some other type of access point. Even if that, what I was talking about earlier, that plastic clean out was available, if it is indeed a clean out, it could just be a tie-in for something else. Even that is not going to be enough there to advance the camera beyond that point anyway, from what I can tell. My camera right now is upside down. I'm sure you figured that out already. But my auto leveling cameras are in the shop right now getting fixed. So the only part of the line here I've seen thus far that has any flow issue or stuff to, I can talk about anyway, related to a gradation problem is right out of the gate. We've got some standing water. We're going to revisit that. And I'll shut the water off when we get back to that point so we're not getting any kind of exaggerated view of things. I noticed on the way out too, here's another one. Got some earthworms in the line. Where they're coming from, that's kind of what I'm unsure of. As we go here, I'll keep an eye out for any pipe joints that look compromised. The earthworms not affecting anything, but they can be an indication you may have a spot in the line that's compromised, allowing stuff in. You can also get that same scenario though if you have, let's say, a storm system tied into the sewer line that's got a ground drain or something of that nature, where worms can just crawl right into the downspout and or perimeter drains, I should say. They can get down the line that way too. Otherwise, what I'm watching for here is to see if we have any obvious pipe joints where we can catch them coming through them. All right, we're going to turn the water off at about this spot here. Anyway, while the line drains out here, just to reiterate, I would contact the city, see if they show any record of a main lateral connection there. It's basically off the back right corner of the house, right between this property and the property directly to the right of it, and kind of situated behind, behind both the boathouses, in that general area there. It's a very tricky spot to locate. So you can see there's a little bit of a offset on that joint there, and it may not even be so much of an offset when you're meshing up new and old pipe together. Yeah, you've got a little tiny bit of an offset there. It's not much though. And sometimes it has more to do with just the fact you're meeting up two very different pipe materials that have different thicknesses to them, and you sometimes end up with a little bit of a lip. But when I park the camera up against that lip is just barely hitting at the bottom of the camera lens. You've got maybe a 1/4 inch of an offset there. So it technically might not even be an offset. This almost looks less gradation related as it does. You've got new and old pipe meeting up together. Sometimes they just don't mesh perfectly. So I'll notate that on the report at 8 feet. You've got about a 1/4 inch offset, but there's zero buildup there at all. That's not the kind of offset we're looking for. And if you were to block up on a joint on an offset that tiny, it would have far more to do with what went down the line than anything. So, and that tie-in there actually is directional. Originally, I thought it was a two-way when we still have water running. That actually looks like a directional connection there. So what that likely is either some type of drain tying into it on the outside. Could be storm system related, something of that nature. And then right here at about 2 feet, we have this is where the belly dissipates off. And there is zero buildup to speak of in this location. And my camera right here is in a downward angle, which is kind of exaggerating things. Once I flatten the camera out here, you've got about, and I can't get behind this clean out does not allow you to go backwards, but you've got about 1 inch of standing water here. From what I can tell, and it's hard to tell if this persists behind this, but when I look straight into the clean out, right here at the base of the clean out, the water level is only about it's maybe a 1/4 inch. So it looks like this belly starts at the clean out as far as I can tell. So it doesn't look like one that starts 10 feet back inside the house and dissipates off here. It looks like it is isolated from the clean out to about 2 feet. There is no buildup there to even recommend drain cleaning on. It's one of those locations that it's not that you couldn't develop a blockage there, but I tend not to recommend you go tearing out a concrete porch like this over a section of pipe that I can't recommend even a few $100s in drain cleaning on. There's zero buildup, so that's one of those areas there that comes down to just treating the line properly. If you're abusing it with wipes, paper towels, things like that, that's one of those bellies where that kind of stuff could get you. Otherwise, the people living here have clearly managed to live here without ever getting stuff hanging up there. There is not a speck of buildup to even talk about. So, cast iron, I would say, is in fair condition for its age. All of it appears to be intact. I don't see anywhere obvious where worms are getting in through bad pipe joints. We don't have any, you know, rust, dirt, stuff like that bulging out of any pipe joints. Nothing obvious there. So, they could be getting in through a storm system somehow. We have adequate flow all the way out to 60 feet. I would just check on that with the city to see if that is indeed where the line terminates at. And find out if the concrete pipe, that section of it, falls into city territory or homeowners. You just get a really bad view of it. It's hard to tell what we're looking at there. If it's just buildup because of the configuration of the line, or if there is some kind of damage to the pipe that's causing some stuff to hang up on top of, you know, potentially a crack, some smaller roots, things like that. But no buildup in the line that indicates blockages or anything like that. So as it sits right now, we have adequate flow all the way to 60 feet. No obvious indications of major issues ahead based on how clean the line is. This is a line that I would keep an eye on. I would rescope periodically, and I would probably plan to do an epoxy liner on it. If you want to go the trenchless route, probably within the next 5-7 years, but that's the importance of rescoping periodically to monitor the condition of the line. Right now, in my opinion, it's not that point. The cast iron is certainly showing its age, but there's almost no buildup to speak of in the line, and by and large, all of it drains off very nicely as it sits right now.